and you can see the remainder of the parking lot and the outbuilding there as well.
And he's indicating picture number 8 in your package, Exhibit E.
In terms of adjacent properties, unfortunately, many of the properties or buildings in the area are either vacant or underutilized. Here to the north, you can see a vacant lot, vacant building. It's a very heavily industrial area. These are a couple copies of some streetscapes. The one to the right shows Tyler Street, looking eastward, where you'll see the 2 sets of railroad tracks and the city's flood wall in the distance. To the east is a large industrial plant occupied by Harris Rebar. And immediately to the east, and it's the photo on your right, is a section of North 2nd Street, believe it or not. Even though that street is fenced off and it's closed off to vehicular traffic, that street technically still exists as a street. So the developer is proposing to file a vacation plat with the city's Department of Streets to vacate that street and to try to convert that right-of-way there into a driveway that would provide better access to the building's parking lot. But that vacation is not part of the action item. Immediately to the south is a well-maintained industrial building, and the photo on the right shows the streetscape along North Broadway. Some of you may have seen some coverage in the media where there's been a lot of drag racing of cars and motorcycles that are going on. So a series of Jersey barriers have been erected there to try to cut down on that particular kind of traffic. The next image is a rendering that was submitted by the petitioner of the renovated building. Again, it would be used for a variety of purposes, both offices, light manufacturing and distribution, and half of it would be occupied by a tenant that would be relocated from San Luis County. The next rendering shows the layout for the remainder of the complex. You can see the outbuilding would be renovated. The parking lot would be spruced up. There would be about 70 parking spaces that would be provided, as well as loading docks for about 10 trucks. Vehicular access, again, would be via North Broadway, via the ramp that I previously showed to you, and the driveway off of Tyler Street, provided that the street vacation occurs. The next slide shows the city's strategic land use plan. It designates the entire redevelopment area, as well as much of the surrounding area as a business industrial preservation area. That, of course, encourages industrial development. The redevelopment area is also located within the boundaries of 3 plans that were adopted by the Planning Commission, both of which recommend industrial development in the area. The first is the Downtown Development Action Plan, which was adopted by the Planning Commission in December of 1999 as a neighborhood plan. The second, more recent plan is the North Riverfront Commerce Corridor Land Use Plan, which covers much of the city's riverfront, just north of downtown, almost as far up as the former Shamrocks Bridge. And that was adopted back in 2013. And again, both of those adopted plans recommend industrial or industrial-related development. So the redevelopment plan is in conformity with the city's SLUIP and the 2 adopted plans. There is no provision for eminent domain. There is provision for 10 years of tax abatement, and staff is recommending approval of the land use study and the redevelopment plan. I'd be happy to answer any questions, and again, we have Mark Correnta, president of Blackline, which is affiliated with the prospective development, and if you have any questions.
Well, what I'll do is I'll invite Mark to go ahead and speak now, and then we'll call on the commissioners to see if they have questions because of the logistics of it. So, Mark, anything you want to offer to us?
I mean, the only thing that I could add is that our prospective tenant is very excited about the idea of moving to that neighborhood. They've got, when they move into the new facility, they'll have about 50 employees, and where they are now, they don't have access to, or convenient access to public transportation, and that's kind of been one of the first goals of the relocation. So that's something they're definitely looking forward to. Beautiful building, and we're excited to be working on it.
Okay. What I'll do is I'll go through the roll call, and first, Commissioner Boyd, any questions?
Sure. Tell me about Blackline. Who is Blackline? What does
Blackline-
Blackline do?
We're actually a full-service real estate consulting, as well as an architecture firm and general contractor.
Okay.
So the bulk of our business is architecture and general contracting. Been around for about 12 years now.
Okay.
We really specialize in historic renovations and just any type of complicated project. The more complicated, the better. So we're a small group, and we have some experts, and we work in all different building types. So we name it education, manufacturing, healthcare, hospitality, and we do a lot of renovation work. That's definitely our specialty.
Okay. And tell me a little bit more about Greater Than Games. I've never heard of them.
That's typical. So great.
I love games, by the way, so I'm interested.
Yeah, so Greater Than Games, we met them a couple of years ago and started a building search with them. We looked kind of all over the city for the right home for them, and they have a creative group that actually kind of comes up with new board games, and another component of their business is fulfillment and distribution for other board game manufacturers. And so if other smaller creative companies will have an idea for a board game, they'll put it together, and Greater Than Games will actually help them get that to market. So they'll get their kind of fulfill the manufacturing component, whether they do some themselves, but they'll also outsource the manufacturing as well as the logistics, shipping, all of those sorts of things. So what you'll see is in their facility now is kind of an office. It's very dark with lots of really neat stuff on the walls, and some unique individuals that the creatives that work there. And then they've got a large warehouse where they'll receive containers and board games and card games, any kind of tabletop game. From manufacturers both in the U.S. and overseas, and so they'll still take those containers and then manage the fulfillment out of their warehouse. And so that's what they do here. It's the reason there's so many truck docks, because they do a lot of that fulfillment business.
Wow, sounds very interesting.
Yeah, they're
Thank you.
All right.
No further questions.
Commissioner Banton?
Sounds like a great project. I think both companies are great companies, and looking forward to seeing it get off the ground. No questions.
Okay. Commissioner Boaz?
No questions for me.
Commissioner Bradley?
Just quick question. I see there's a pretty big parking lot, and great job, by the way, doing landscaping and so forth. Are you guys thinking about doing anything as far as like permeable pavement or anything to reduce the runoff at all?
Yeah, we are. We'll definitely work with MSD on that, because actually Blackline has a couple of projects right now that partner with a pretty good-sized parking components, and we've had really good success working with MSD to come up with some really smart pervious paving and pervious paver solutions for those to help with the runoff issue.
Great project. No further questions.
Thank you. Commissioner Peoples?
No questions.
Commissioner Reese? Okay. Commissioner Stenhouse?
No questions for me.
Okay. Commissioner Devine?
No questions. It's a great project. I was just, you may have answered, what's the estimated timeline if everything goes smoothly?
So the long lead item right now is just approval for state tax credits, and so we are optimistically hoping for that this summer. We've got the bulk of the financing lined up, and so as soon as we get tax credit approval, we're ready to move.
Awesome. Great project. Thanks.
Okay. Commissioner Young?
No questions.
My only question, where they're moving from St. Louis County?
Correct.
Where are they currently located?
They're on Bauer Boulevard, it's right off of Woodson and Bauer and Creek Court. It's there's a whole strip of kind of little office industrial buildings that they're cranked into right now.
Okay. All right, with that, I hear no other questions from the commissioners. I entertain a motion.
So move. Approve.
Second.
It was moved by Commissioner Boyd and seconded, was that Commissioner Vines?
It was.
Okay. Okay, roll call vote, please.
Alderman Boyd.
Aye.
Commissioner Banton.
Aye.
Commissioner Boaz.
Aye.
Commissioner Bradley.
Aye.
Commissioner Peoples.
Aye.
Commissioner Reese.
Aye.
Commissioner Zenhouse.
Aye.
Commissioner Vines.
Aye.
Commissioner Young.
Aye.
Chair Strother.
Aye.
Motion passes with all voting aye.
Very good. That covers the Chapter 99 blighting. It goes forward to the Board of Aldermen at this point. There are two delegated items that, is anybody going to just speak to them at all?
No, with your questions, I'm happy to answer.
Okay, any questions to the two delegated items? All right, hearing none. There is a street sidewalk vacation. Any questions to address that? Hearing none. No informational items. Hearing none on that. Notice that Don's not in the room. It's not even 6 o'clock, and we get ready to call it in a few seconds. The next meeting is scheduled for June the 5th. At that point, hearing it, any other questions or concerns from the commission?
Yeah. Where's Zion Rowe?
Absent. Exactly.
Is that a good thing?
Look at your watch and tell me. With that, I'll entertain a motion to close the meeting.
So moved.
It's been moved.
Adjourn, right?
Adjourn, yes.
Second.
It's been moved to adjourn. Seconded for the meeting to be adjourned. Thank you for calling in. It is now 5:49.
Wow.
Good night.
Good
Good night. Thank you.
Bye.